What if England had won the 100 Years' War? The reality behind the 100 Years' War. When we talk about the 100 Years' War, it's crucial to understand that what we now call a single conflict was, in reality, a series of wars between England and France. For those directly involved, it wasn't one continuous war but rather a collection of conflicts spanning generations. This prolonged struggle reshaped not only the relationship between these two nations but also the political and social fabric of medieval Europe. The origins of the conflict can be traced back to the Norman conquest of England in 1066. William the Conqueror, a duke from Normandy, became the King of England, creating a unique situation where English monarchs were also significant landowners in France. Over the centuries, this dual identity led to numerous disputes over territory, succession, and sovereignty. By the early 14th century, tensions had reached a breaking point. In 1337, King Edward II of England formally declared his claim to the French throne, citing his descent from Philip IV of France through his mother, Isabella. While this claim was largely symbolic at first, it provided the legal justification for a full-scale invasion of France. Edward's initial campaigns were remarkably successful. Victories at Crécy 1346 and Poitiers 1356 showcased the effectiveness of English longbowmen against heavily armoured French knights. These battles not only demonstrated tactical superiority but also inflicted severe blows to French morale and leadership. By capturing King John I of France at Poitiers, Edward secured significant territorial gains, including much of Aquitaine and Gascony. However, as history often shows, success is fleeting without proper management. Internal divisions within England, coupled with renewed French resistance under Charles V, gradually eroded these early victories. When Edward II passed away in 1377, leaving behind a young and inexperienced Richard I, the momentum shifted decisively in favour of France. Charles V's reforms, ranging from professionalizing the army to improving taxation systems, enabled him to reclaim lost territories and stabilize the kingdom. For nearly 2 decades, peace reigned across the Channel. But the underlying issues remained unresolved. With the onset of madness in Charles VI of France and subsequent power struggles among his relatives, the stage was set for another round of hostilities. Enter Henry V, arguably one of England's greatest kings. Henry V, a new era of aggression. Henry V ascended the throne in 1413, inheriting both ambition and opportunity. His reign marked a turning point in Anglo-French relations. Unlike his predecessors, who sought limited territorial acquisitions, Henry aimed for nothing less than complete dominion over France. His personal charisma, military acumen, and diplomatic skills made him uniquely suited for such an endeavour. The campaign began auspiciously with the stunning victory at Agincourt in 1415. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Henry's forces triumphed through superior tactics and discipline. This triumph bolstered English confidence and weakened French resolve. Over the next few years, Henry consolidated his gains by capturing key cities like Rouen and Paris. Crucially, he forged an alliance with the Duchy of Burgundy, securing their support against the rival Armagnac faction. In 1420, the Treaty of Troyes formalized Henry's ambitions. It recognized him as heir to the French throne, effectively bypassing the Dauphin Charles VII. For a brief moment, it seemed as though England stood on the brink of achieving its ultimate goal, a unified realm encompassing both crowns. What if Henry V had lived longer? The question of what might have happened if Henry V had survived beyond 1422 has fascinated historians for centuries. To explore this what-if scenario, we must consider several factors: military strategy, governance, economics, and cultural integration. Military strategy. Had Henry lived longer, there is little doubt that he would have continued his aggressive expansionist policies. His proven track record suggests that he could have completed the conquest of France within a decade or so. Key objectives would likely include subduing resistant regions like Brittany and Provence, ensuring loyalty among local nobility, and establishing permanent garrisons throughout the country. Moreover, Henry's presence on the battlefield inspired immense loyalty among his troops. His willingness to lead from the front fostered camaraderie and esprit de corps, qualities essential for maintaining cohesion during prolonged campaigns. Without his charismatic leadership, the English army struggled to maintain momentum after his death. Governance. Managing a vast empire spanning the English Channel posed significant challenges even for a capable administrator like Henry. One potential solution lay in appointing trusted deputies to oversee different parts of the realm. Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, emerges as a natural candidate for governing northern France. As a member of the Valois dynasty, he possessed both legitimacy and familiarity with local customs, making him an ideal intermediary between London and Paris. Other provinces might require separate administrators, each reporting directly to the central authority. Establishing efficient communication networks and standardized administrative procedures would be paramount to ensuring stability and preventing rebellion. Economics. A united England-France entity held tremendous economic potential. Combining the agricultural wealth of France with England's burgeoning trade networks could create a powerhouse capable of dominating European markets. However, realizing this vision required careful planning and investment. Key priorities would include developing infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and ports, harmonizing tax laws and currency systems, encouraging migration between regions to balance population densities, promoting industrial growth through incentives for artisans and craftsmen. These measures, while beneficial in the long term, risked alienating certain interest groups accustomed to traditional privileges. Navigating these competing demands demanded finesse and compromise. Cultural integration, uniting two distinct cultures under one banner, presented perhaps the greatest challenge of all. Language barriers, religious differences, and regional identities threatened to undermine any attempt at forced assimilation. Instead, a more nuanced approach emphasizing mutual respect and shared interests might yield better results. Promoting bilingual education, celebrating common heritage sites, and fostering intermarriage between elites could help bridge divides over time. Public works projects undertaken jointly by citizens of both nations further reinforced feelings of unity and cooperation. The future of France under English rule, while complete absorption into an English-dominated state seems unlikely, some degree of autonomy within a federal structure remains plausible. Think of modern-day Canada or Australia, sovereign nations bound together by shared history and values yet retaining individual characteristics. Philip the Good, as Viceroy of France, would wield considerable influence over domestic affairs. His ability to mediate between competing factions and implement reforms tailored to local needs makes him indispensable to the success of this arrangement. Yet, human nature being what it is, aspirations toward independence linger beneath the surface. Upon Henry VI's ascension, cracks in the facade become increasingly apparent. Plagued by mental illness inherited from his maternal grandfather Charles VI, the young king proves ill-equipped to handle the complexities of ruling dual kingdoms. Power vacuums emerge, inviting opportunists to exploit weaknesses for personal gain. Enter Charles the Bold, successor to Philip the Good. Ambitious and ruthless, he views the chaos engulfing England as a golden opportunity to assert Burgundian dominance over France. Rallying disaffected nobles and peasants alike, he launches a campaign styled as a liberation movement but driven purely by self-interest. Resistance stiffens initially, but eventually, the tide turns in favor of native forces. By mid-century, France regains full sovereignty, albeit under a modified Valois lineage tracing descent through collateral branches. Lessons learned during this turbulent period inform future interactions between the two nations, fostering caution and pragmatism over rash adventurism. Broader implications for Europe. The hypothetical scenario of England prevailing in the Hundred Years' War carries profound implications for the broader European landscape. Several trends warrant exploration: shift in power dynamics, with France neutralized, or at least significantly weakened, an expanded England assumes center stage in continental politics. Traditional rivals like Spain and the Holy Roman Empire must recalibrate their strategies accordingly. Alliances shift, treaties are renegotiated, and new threats emerge as smaller states jockey for position amidst shifting alliances. Technological advancements, access to French intellectual resources accelerates developments in fields ranging from architecture to warfare. Innovations born out of necessity during wartime find applications in peacetime pursuits, driving progress forward faster than otherwise possible. Religious reforms, a stronger, more unified Christian realm increases pressure on the papacy to address mounting grievances among laity. Calls for reform grow louder, culminating in movements akin to the Protestant Reformation occurring earlier than historically recorded. Colonial expansion, control over substantial portions of mainland Europe positions England favourably for overseas ventures. Resources diverted toward internal consolidation instead fuel exploration efforts, potentially altering timelines regarding discoveries in the Americas and elsewhere. Speculating about alternate histories serves not merely as idle entertainment but as a valuable exercise in critical thinking. Examining what-ifs forces us to confront assumptions, challenge conventional wisdom, and appreciate the complexity inherent in historical processes. Whether England ultimately triumphed or faltered in its quest to dominate France, the legacy of the 100 Years' War endures, shaping our understanding of nationhood, identity, and resilience. As we reflect upon these events, let us remember that history rarely unfolds according to neat scripts. Contingency plays a vital role, introducing elements of chance and unpredictability into even the most carefully laid plans. And perhaps therein lies its greatest allure, the tantalizing possibility that things might have turned out differently given just a slight adjustment here or there.